Okay, let's talk iPad photography workflow. If you've never edited your photos on an iPad, it's actually really nice. Sitting in a chair with your iPad pencil, you kind of feel like an artist, which is really nice. Now, if you are researching this topic, check the comments below. We have an awesome community here that shares their knowledge. And so check the comments to see what other people are doing. And that'll help you out. That's what we do on this channel. So hit that like. All right, first we should mention the difference between editing on an iPad versus a laptop. There is a little bit of a difference, and you should keep this in mind if you're thinking about throwing your laptop away. Because here's the main difference. If you work on a laptop, your laptop's editing program, Capture One, Lightroom, Luminar, they can reference photos off a drive, which means you could take all the photographs you took, all 2,000 of your Safari photographs, and you can dump them on a hard drive. And then on the laptop, you can actually reference those images without moving them onto your laptop. Now, an iPad doesn't work that way. You actually have to import the images into the editing software that you're using. So if you're using Lightroom on the iPad, it needs the photos to come in there. So that's a big, that hopefully will change in the future. But for right now, that's a big consideration, and it will affect your workflow. Especially if you took 2,000 Safari photographs, dumping them all onto your iPad may work for just that vacation. But as an overall workflow, we have to think of something else. Okay, let's start with the first workflow, from your SD card to your iPad. This workflow doesn't involve any external drives at all. This is just you want to get images from your SD card to your iPad to start working on them. Now, the first thing you could do is you can use the app provided by your camera. So this is the Fujifilm app here. You can actually use the Fujifilm app to transfer images with the SD card inside the camera. It works completely fine, and I've done it many times. It's best if you want to grab a few photographs instead of dumping a whole card. Now, you could buy an SD card reader for the iPad. That works as well. This is an older one. You can see that here. This is the Lightning cable, which is the older iPads. The iPad Pros have a USB-C, so you'd have to buy a card reader with a USB-C. Now, that's all well and good if you shoot with an SD card, but what if you shoot with a CF card or a XQD card or some of these other cards? You just need this dongle. This is a USB-C to USB-A connector. You can just connect your card reader, plug in your card, CF card, XQD card, and then read them on the iPad that way. All right, let me show you what that looks like. So here we have the card reader, and we're connecting it to this dongle. Get out of here, you. This dongle right here. Card reader's on, and let's grab a card. Plug the card in. Okay, open up your Files app. And here's the card. If you go to Untitled here, that's the card. You can open up the folder, and then you can actually see the images that are on that card. Now you have two choices. Number one, you can dump this entire card into your iPad and unplug this and just edit and cull and do everything you want to do on the iPad. I recommend that if you don't have that many images. Maybe you were out street shooting and you got just less than 100 or less images and you want to bring them in. Now you can look at the images from the card. Here I haven't imported anything. So what's great is they look amazing on your iPad. Oh yes. So the images look great on the iPad and you can check critical focus. The only thing is selecting them. You can't really select from this view. So you can't cull. You have to basically select them from here. Okay, so now you can select images you want to work on. So you can select images like this. And if you do need to check critical focus or see what's going on with the image, you can hold down the image and say quick look. And that lets you at least take a quick look and be like, all right, I'll select that one or I won't select. And it's still, the other ones are still selected. So you can cull from the card as a workflow. Okay, after you've selected the images you want to work on, you can put them actually in a folder. So what you want to do is you want to say, you don't want to duplicate. I made that mistake. I selected all once and hit duplicate, and it just was trying to make a a copy of each one, which was a nightmare. So hit move. And what's neat is you can actually, on your iPad, you can make a new folder. So you could call this, today is May 8th. Okay, and there is May 8th folder and your images are there. So now you have a folder of images that you selected from your card that you can bring into any of the programs. And this is cool if you like working on multiple programs. So instead of importing images from the card into Lightroom, well, you put the favorites in a folder and now you can work on them on Snapseed if you want, or you can use the same photos in multiple softwares or apps, which is kind of cool. So I like putting them in a selects folder instead of importing them directly into Lightroom or another program. Now to eject your SD card, there is no eject button like there is on your laptop or desktop. So you just take the card out, which is very unnerving. Here I go. Gah! So Untitled goes away and the images are still there. These are on my iPad now, okay? All right, let's say you want to get your images from the SD card, you're done with the Safari, and you want to dump them all onto an external hard drive. All right, so for that workflow, I recommend a dongle that has an SD card reader on it, and then sort of multiple inputs that you can use. Now, one negative about using a dongle and attaching hard drives to it is that it drains your iPad battery. I forgot to charge my battery, by the way, before doing this video. So I'm down to, it's very exciting, I'm down to 10%. So just know that any drive you connect is gonna use the battery that's on your iPad. SD card reader in there, USB-A to this external drive. Now this external drive is a hard drive, but I recommend that you use SSD drives that are a lot faster. Okay, so just select your card and then what you do is there are all your images. You can actually, select in the corner. And then here it says select, come on, focus. It says it's hard to focus on glass. And then it says select all on the top. You just select all. And again, we want to move, not duplicate. We want to move. And we're gonna move them. There's your drive is still attached here. So you can put it on My Passport for Mac. And now you can actually make a folder in your external hard drive. So I made a folder called Drive and I hit copy and they're headed there. So it's gonna copy 90 items to that drive. Let's see how long it takes. Okay, so it completed, here is Drive and it copied the 90 items in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So again, SSD drive will be a lot quicker. But now remember, they're on an external drive. That means you have 2 copies now of your images of your Safari. You have your SD card, which you can put away or format. And now you have your images safe on a hard drive. So you have 2 copies, but remember your iPad can only edit images that are imported. So if you have 2,000 Safari photos, well now you can cull them from the hard drive if you want instead of the card. Same process as before. Select what you want and bring them into a new folder. Maybe you can call that folder your selects or the ones to edit. So your full drive with the 2000 stays over here and you have a new folder of edits. And that's a good workflow of not having to import all the images onto the iPad. Again, if you bought an iPad with like 1 tera million byte of memory, you can import them all and worry about that later if you're that kind of person. Hoarder! All right, and the third thing you can do is to have a special drive that is kind of designed to do this kind of thing. So Western Digital makes one. It's a hard drive that has an SD card reader in it, and then your iPad can see those images. So you can use that little that hard drive, sort of put your SD card in with your Safari. Why is everyone going on a Safari? With your street photography photos. And then you can sit there with your iPad and read it off via Wi-Fi. The hard drive can actually just talk to the iPad. And so you could use that device. Another device that's popular with photographers and videographers, because this is called the gnarbox 2.0. And what's cool is the gnarbox just takes care of all the backup. It makes a complete copy. So after the files are on the gnarbox, you can actually just have the gnarbox talk to your iPad, and the iPad can see the images. And gnarbox has its own software that allows you to select your images and also manage your files and things, make folders. It does all these things. But my only complaint about the selects process is you can't check critical focus. So with the other workflow that we were using, you can zoom in, you can check a photo, see which one has better focus, yada, yada. The Selects app using the gnarbox doesn't let you zoom in, so I don't really like that. Check out the gnarbox. It may work into your workflow. It's a little pricey. Any kind of review you look for on this guy, people are saying it's way overpriced, but just know this guy is more a little computer inside. And anyone who does video, this guy can sort of make proxy something that I don't understand. Once you have your images in the File app, you can open up your editing program of choice, and here's Lightroom. I can say that, hey, I want images from files, and here's May 8th. You want to select, and I want to select all of them, and I want to open them. You can find them under recently added, but you can also make a collection or an album or a folder that will hold those as well. But here are the images, and then you can actually start editing them on this program. Now, if you're using Snapseed or something like that, it'll ask you to open from the device. You can go to the photo where your images are, and if you open up any of those images, what you can do is click the little arrow at the top. You could just save the image to your device, and then it's in your photos. All right, so there you have it, guys. A little bit of an iPad Pro workflow. Check the comments below to see if people have any suggestions. Make sure to hit this button. Just hit this video right now. Hit it.